My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Are you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to The Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sarantos.
Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, and welcome back to The Songwriter Show, right here on Reality Radio 101. I'm your host, Sarantos. I'm a solo music artist who's been writing lyrics for as long as I can remember. Words are so important to me, and that's why I'm thrilled to host this show for you every single Tuesday evening. I believe that every song is a story. Tonight, I'm so excited to have on the show songwriter Jim. Jim is an experienced storyteller and songwriter. He plays regularly across the U.S., including this year in Arizona, Florida, California, Indiana, Kentucky, and of course his home state of Ohio. His performances include quirky original songs about life's up and downs that inevitably lead to good times and crowd participation.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
So thank you for being on the show, Jim. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
You're welcome. So I love your name, by the way. It's simple. It's effective, I think.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Sometimes easier is better.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us a little bit about your origin story.
Well, I have always been similar to you, Sarantos, more of a lyricist and a storyteller. That's my passion. Basically, everywhere I go, there's a story behind it, and there's a story that comes out of it. So that my whole life has been spent collecting stories, and now I'm starting to share them more.
Okay, well, that's great to hear. What was the first tune you learned when you were a kid?
Oh, gosh, that's a great question. We played, I was in a lot of those really bad, junior high kind of garage bands singing loud and Cheap Trick and stuff like that. It was probably some of the first ones, and even the Eagles back in the 70s.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about any famous musicians that you admire, respect, try to emulate.
Well, I love the singer-songwriter aspect, genre of music. And so like a more current singer-songwriter that I really enjoy listening to is Amos Lee. His lyrics are amazing. His voice is just so passionate. But then I go back, across the board. I mean, you go back to some of the classic songwriters like John Prine and listen to his music and the stories that he told. And so really it's, you're going back to John Prine in the 60s to Amos Lee now. There's countless people in between there that to me share the story of music.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, right?
It really is. I mean, to me, music is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are. None of that matters. If you hear a song or if I play a song and it moves somebody, then I feel like I've done my job and I feel like I've made a difference in the world. And that's really all I want to do is leave a little bit of a mark in a very positive way.
I think it's well said, songwriter Jim.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your process. Do you just start with lyrics? Do you ever start with the melody? Do you start with a guitar lick? Like, how do you prefer to do it?
Everybody has their own technique. And because my musicianship is not what it really should be, I'm trying to work at it more. I almost every time start with lyrics. I start with an idea. And then I keep a little book with me all the time, whether I'm traveling, business, personal, whatever. I have this little book. And when people say things or I get texts, I get ideas out of text. It's a great place to get a hook for a song when somebody sends me a text. But I start with usually an idea, and then I build lyrics around it, and then I build a melody around it. And then I rely on some of my friends at times to help me with the musicianship side of it, to come in and help me lay some tracks down, just because they're better at it. And they love sharing their expertise with me, which makes a better product.
Yeah, for sure. I think even though whatever your expertise is, I think collaborating with other people, or you could throw a loop or a MIDI file or whatever, half-ass play any instrument that we can all play. But I think there's nothing wrong with having a phenomenal guitar player redo that part or make it better. Same thing with drums, same thing with bass, because I think it's foolish to just pretend that we can all play every instrument at the level of an expert. I think most people like to pretend that, but it's usually not true.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you on that. And that's been my approach to it. I have some great musician friends, and quite frankly, they come up with ideas to make every song that I've brought to this collection of people, they've made it better. And that's awesome. I appreciate it. There's no pride of authorship that way, where I feel like, well, do not change a word or don't change the melody a little bit. Make it better. That's what we're here for.
In my own journey, I obviously, like everybody, thought I was the shit with lyrics. And then you learn there's so much more to it than I ever imagined, because if you're not trained or go to school for it, and as you keep getting better and better, I think collaborating is wonderful. What I have found, when you get to a certain level, really one little change to the verse, one little change to the chord, it just makes it from a good song to a great song. And you have to have those ears and be open and listen to your friends or collaborators, because we can all learn from everybody.
I've certainly had the same exact experience. I can think of a number of songs right now that I thought were good songs. I thought they were good lyrics, and they were made better once I started collaborating with others. So even though I continually keep that book up to date, and I'm always adding to it literally daily, I'm also reaching out to friends. And what's nice now is we can do things like this, where we don't even have to be in the same city anymore, and we can share information and share tracks and send things over the internet and come up with a product that's a song that's just better.
Yeah, for sure. How do you figure out if a song you wrote is going to be worth exploring, if you're going to put out into the world, or if it's just going to go in the pile?
Boy, I wish there was an easy answer to that question. It's a gut feeling, but I also, when I go and play places, and I've been playing more this past year and a half, I try out new songs all the time. When I don't have a regular show scheduled, I'll even go to some open mics. It doesn't matter what city I'm in. I'll Google up a open mic night near me, and I'll go try out a couple new songs. And generally, you can get a good feel pretty fast from a crowd as to whether or not the song has the potential to keep working with it and get it, some collaboration going with others, or maybe it's one that I'll put aside for now. And they never go away. They just get put aside. Who knows what in life's going to make it pop back up and be relevant.
Yeah. So I have to ask you, do you teach anything, songwriting or music or theory or anything?
No, I don't. I would, like I said, I was in the music business, and then when I was in high school and college, I traveled as a roadie. That's how I paid for college. And then I was out of the music business, raising families, doing all that kind of stuff. And then I've gotten back in recently and playing again. So no, I don't teach, but I don't teach music, but I do speak to a fair number of like young college students and that kind of stuff. And the one thing I tell them, because and I'm practicing what I preach, is that you have to have a goal in life that people laugh at a little bit, that they think it's so ridiculous. And my goal is that I want someone famous to hear one of my songs and record it. I don't need to be a rock star, but I think it would be pretty cool if somebody heard a song of mine and recorded it.
That is cool. My 2 cents is I want that too, but I also want to be a rock star.
Power to you, man. That's cool.
So I'm greedy like that,
I respect that. Hey, I love performing. To me,
Yeah.
the performing part of it is just, it's a blast. I'm doing this. I love doing it. I love writing the music. I love sharing the stories. I love entertaining people. I like to see the emotion, both emotions, happy and making somebody sing a sad song and it makes them think about something. I mean, the whole emotion of music is what I think drives people like yourself and me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Every time I talk to artists that are gigging a lot, like yourself, I'm getting that itch and I want to get back out there because I'm at the point in my life where I could do what I've always wanted to do, which is basically perpetually gig. Like every month, put out the new song at a gig somewhere and keep doing it. But I have such a hard time finding bandmates to do this with me, man. It's my biggest challenge and it's so frustrating.
Yeah, I'm just doing most of it on my own right now for the same reason.
Yeah.
I mean, life is crazy now for everybody. Everybody's so busy, and I don't want to go out and flop. I want to, and to find a time to practice can become difficult. So right now I'm doing it mainly on my own. But I show up at places and people will come up and play with me. I always invite people to come up and play a few. And my son plays guitar too, so he comes and plays a few with me, which is really awesome.
Yeah. All right. So I'll tell you what, tell us about this song we're going to hear.
The song that you're going to hear is a song called Captain Bill, and it's about a real boat captain down in Florida that I met. Looks a lot like Ernest Hemingway, just a big burly guy. And he and his buddies created what they called a yacht club in his backyard, which is on the Indian River down in New Smyrna Beach. And it was just a place where they could go to drink beer at 4 o'clock every Thursday and just enjoy each other's company. And it was just a crazy collection of people. And I wrote this song for Captain Bill with a lot of his Captain Bill isms in there for his 70th birthday many years ago. Unfortunately, Captain Bill isn't with us anymore, but the legend lives on through this song.
Okay. Tell you what, let's take a listen and we'll come back and talk some more, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Check this out, everybody. Here we go.
Well, Captain Bill, now what a thrill, legend of the sea. He never lets the facts get in the way of a good story. Hemingway so proud, just not as loud as Captain Bill when he sings. And the sirens rejoice, a great manatee voice. It's Captain Bill, my friend. So, ooh, pour another, slide it on down. Time for one more and I gotta go. So rack up another round and listen to those tales of valor. Fish stories big, steaming up the river clams. That's Captain Bill and that merry crew where they're living it up again. Well, shiver my timbers, it's time to walk the plank. It's another night at the yacht club, filling up the tank. And we're searching for a treasure in the bottom of a keg, sharing fun with friends. Well, the slush fund's dry, no one questions why with Captain Bill, my friend. So, ooh, pour another, slide it on down. Time for one more and I gotta go. So rack up another round, listen to those tales of valor. Fish stories big, steaming up the river clams. That's Captain Bill and that motley crew where they're living it up again. Push out the boat, salute to Captain Bill. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. Here comes the gravity storm. So won't you pour another, shine it up another round and listen to those tales of valor. Fish stories big, steaming up the river clams. That's Captain Bill and that motley crew where they're living it up again. We're having fun with Captain Bill and we're drinking beer again.
Thank you for sharing that song with us, Jim.
Oh, my pleasure. It makes me smile every time I hear it. It makes me want to drink a beer.
So tell us about transitioning to a professional status from indie artists. What do you think that should entail for most people?
Well, number one, it just takes a level of commitment that you can't shortcut it. You've got to put the time in. You've got to put the time in writing. You've got to put the time in communicating, trying to get gigs, being on time, being appropriate, respecting other people's valuable time too. It's a profession. It really is. And the more you do it, I think the better you get at it.
Yeah, I can certainly understand that and relate to that. Do you think in today's business, do you think that men and women are treated equally, or do you still think there's less opportunity and still a bunch of stuff that's not right going on?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, it's a crazy world. And unfortunately, there still are situations where men and women are not treated equally. They're created equally, but not treated equally. And that's something that I hope that as a civilization, we can continue to change. It's been important to me. I have a daughter. I have a granddaughter now, and I want them to have every opportunity that I had or my son had or that any young man has.
Yeah, I think they say even the worst of men, once you have a daughter, they like see the light. I guess, hopefully they do, right? I guess some still
I
don't.
agree. I hope so.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think it's nice to see some diversity. I got something from the Recording Academy that they have a lot more minority and female people that are members now. But I think
So,
it's a challenge that everybody should appreciate. And, the old ways should be gone forever. And there's nothing wrong with that.
no, not at all. Diversity is to me what makes success. It's what makes us come together as people and better understand why somebody may react the way they do or not react the way they do. It's just learning about other cultures has always been important to me, and I hope that we can impress that upon all young people that, there's a lot of world out there. Let's go live it.
And I love the fact that the more I travel, I love the fact that we communicate with people in Australia and Europe and China and the whole world so much more effortlessly than we used to. I think the exchange of ideas and cultures is taking our whole civilization to the next level, I think.
It really is. And even in my songwriting, there's things like I wrote a song recently that I played out called Hurricane. And I reference I make references to the Taino culture, which were the original folks down in the Caribbean and down in Florida. And, I learned about that when I was traveling, and it just brings the world together. Captain Bill's song, that song, I don't have the precise statistics, but last time I looked, it's been played in like 40 countries, at least 40 countries, which is pretty cool to think about that, that you can put something on Spotify or some other streaming service, and it's available to people all over the world, not just my neighbors.
Absolutely. So, what's your favorite superpower that you would love to have?
Oh my goodness, that no one has ever asked me that question. What is my favorite superpower?
These are the kinds of things I do to people, just so you know.
That's all right. That's a fair question. You got me thinking here. I'm not a big Marvel comic guy, but
Marvel, DC, Image, what's your poison?
yeah. No, music is my poison.
Yeah.
It always has been, always will be. Whether it's the good old rock and roll to country to some of the rap music. I mean, there's a collection. There's nothing I don't like. I'll even sit down and listen to a classical thing. But my superpower, I guess in some respects, and this sounds sort of corny, but I just want to be able to make a difference in the world. If I can make a positive difference in the world, that's what I want to do. I want to help people be more honest, be more respectful, because I think that's the key factor. If we can start treating each other like our moms used to say, treat someone like you want to be treated. It's as simple as that. And if I can help accomplish that, that's what I'd love to do.
What was your first job?
My first job was the first. Yeah, I delivered papers in Cleveland, Ohio, in the through the snowstorms and everything. The Cleveland Press, and occasionally even got paid by people. They
Yeah, I was gonna say I did that a little bit and I wanted to do it more, but my parents wouldn't let me do it that much and went back to the restaurant and helped my dad. But that's not an easy life, man. Getting up early back then and the weather didn't matter what the weather was. You had to be out there.
No, you had to be out there. They wanted their papers, and they were adamant about it. So I did that, and then I worked at a camp as a camp counselor for years. And that's where I met a lot of the guys that I started, in the music business with. Was at camp, and camp was a life-changing thing for me. Just being away from home, having the opportunity to meet all kinds of different people that let me understand that I had more opportunities available to me than perhaps I really realized I did.
What's the coolest gig you've ever done?
I got to sing a song called Next Year, which is a song of mine. It's on Reverb Nation, I think, or it's on streaming too, Spotify. But I wrote it for a mother of a soldier who was not able to come home for Christmas and that year. And I wrote that song for her, played it out, and then they asked me to come and open the county fair and play that song when they had the military come in and the flag raising and everything else. And then I played that song as a tribute to her and him, and he did come home eventually, thankfully. That was a cool gig.
Yeah, very cool. So, other than me, who's your role model in the songwriting business?
Well, you're hard to beat. I think it goes back to, one of them would be John Prine. I go back that far. I just think he was an amazing storyteller. Like I said, I love the stories.
Okay. Let's pretend we're sitting here a year from now and you've had a great year. So, what did you achieve?
What I would have achieved a year from now, if I had a short-term goal like that, I would want to put out at least another dozen songs, probably more, of good quality that are recorded with the right people, that are gaining momentum. It's hard to gain momentum in this world of streaming music. It's hard to get noticed. So, I'm not unrealistic. If I could get continued growth in my music and continue to put more music out there within a year, I'll be satisfied with that. But I'm not going to be satisfied until somebody famous hears one of my songs, records it, and puts it on a chart somewhere.
Okay, that's cool. What were you like in high school?
I was actually a pretty good student in high school. I did all the acting and choir and that, but I also played football. I wasn't very good, but I was on the team. I guess that counts.
Listen, I don't think if you want to hear not good, my mom wouldn't let me join football. I finally did when I was a senior. And my senior year, we went basically 1-8. And the only game we won by like 1 point, and the extra point barely made it over the crossbar. But at the end of the year, one of the teams we played that destroyed us for our homecoming by like 40 points, they had like an ineligible fifth-year senior. So our record got upgraded to 2-7.
Oh, there you go. There's the compliment.
So I think our team might have been a little bit worse than your team.
Yeah, I don't know. My doctor ordered me to, stop playing football. And someone asked me, he's like, well, what kind of physical did he give you? I said, oh, he didn't give me a physical. He just saw me play.
All right, man. What's the craziest thing you've had a boss ever ask you to do in any profession?
Oh, that's a good question. When I was touring, there was always crazy things that had to be done. Like I set up a show for Van Halen once, and somebody had to go through and get I think they had in their contract that they wanted 10 pounds of M&Ms, but no brown ones. And that was before the days you could go just buy,
Yeah.
and pink. So we had to buy all these bags and have people just split out all the brown ones. And most of them were brown, dark brown or light brown. So that was crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of, I hear stuff like that. And between their gold-plated toilet seats and all this crap that I hear, it's like, I can't imagine, like, no matter how big you get, like some of the stuff that you hear, I don't think I'm ever going to yell at anybody about just the bottled water is a bottled water, Like all these weird things that people request, it's just bizarre to me.
You and I both. I mean, I used to have a copy of that contract because I remember when they told us that first. I'm like, we got to do what? And then they gave me a copy of it. I don't know, it's disappeared through the years, but yeah, I could never treat anybody like that. It would go against everything I stand for.
Yeah. All right. So before I ask you about your website and everything, what's the one place that you would take a workstation to? Like what area? Where would you go?
A workstation, like take my computer?
Work vacation is what I meant.
Where I would go for a work vacation?
Yeah. Like if you had to pick somewhere, where's your preference?
Oh, I love Costa Rica. I've been down there a couple of times and it's just awesome. Awesome.
Interesting. Okay. I haven't been there. I'm going to have to add that to my list.
Yeah, they have everything you want down there. I mean, the beautiful rainforest, the ocean's great. We did some whitewater rafting and mountain biking, and there's a big volcano there. I didn't get up to the volcano, but I will. Just check it out. But it's a beautiful place.
So last question, tell us where people can find you. What's your website? Where can people buy and stream your stuff?
My songs are available on basically every streaming service. I focus a lot on Spotify because they have most of the market, and it can be downloaded at Spotify. It could be Apple, iTunes, Amazon. And then my main website that I'm using right now is off of Facebook. It's Songwriter Jim is the Facebook contact there, and it's my last name Kamadeka is what I use on Instagram. I got to get that fixed. I know. I don't know how that happened, but my assistant isn't all that great, and my assistant's me.
Yeah.
I got a big staff around me. It's just me. My IT guy's even worse.
All right, man. I want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight, dude.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity, and let's just keep making music, man.
Yeah, thank you, Songwriter Jim. And we both hope your unique story gets heard around the world too. Thank you so much for listening to the two of us tonight. My name is Sarantos. Please join me every single Tuesday evening to hear other amazing artists share their fascinating behind-the-scenes stories right here at the Songwriter Show on Reality Radio 101. Have a great night. I love you all.
You're knockout and bulletproof, and who am I to argue that DNA looks good on you? Every rainbow smiles down on you. I can't believe you're holding my hand, that you picked me to be your man. There's nothing you can't do, nothing's impossible for you. We're 4 ears but only one mouth, I'm always full of doubt. We both miss the man I used to be. We both know you're not nice to me, but I'm just glad I met you. Why'd you do that? It's 'cause you can. Girls that look like you do what they wanna do, play with any man, but it's the eyes. You're so easy on the eyes. I'm lost in a sea of noise, don't feel like I have a choice. In the night I'm the sad boyfriend, but in the day hope this'll never end. Your eyes always bring me back, push us gently on track. They matter more than you think. They lift me up, it's all instinct. We're 4 ears but only one mouth. I'm always full of doubt. We both miss the man I used to be. We both know you're not nice to me. But I'm just glad I met you. Why'd you do that? It's 'cause you can. Girls that look like you do what they wanna do, play with any man. But it's the eyes. You're so easy, easy on the eyes. You're a Powerball ticket I never had a chance of cashing. But now that I've got you, I'm gonna do anything I can to keep you. Anything I can to keep you. Anything I can. I'm just glad I met you. Why'd you do that? It's 'cause you can. Girls that look like you do what they wanna do, play with any man. But it's the eyes. You're so easy, easy on the eyes.
Thank you for listening to The Songwriter Show. To keep the momentum going, head over to www.songwritershow.com and join our free music community of artists, songwriters, and producers. That's www.songwritershow.com.